Hey guys, Erik here, Florida High Performance. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. As always, thank you for the support and checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. That's really helping us grow and getting this content out there. Like the video, and as always, comment. I'm happy to get back to you, give you my opinion on things. I'd love to hear from you guys. So again, thank you very much. We have a very cool, very technical episode for you today. I've got a 2018 ZL1 1LE behind me. We're going to be testing different lids, different supercharger lids. You've all been on the forums, you've been in the online groups and the meets and stuff like that. And with the LT4, there's always this big debate about what lid is the best lid, which one gives me the best sound, the best performance. Certainly the manufacturers out there making these things, they make their own claims as to added horsepower and torque and different benefits and things like that. So we are going to test 4 different lids today on this ZL1. I will preface this entire video by saying I'm not endorsed or supported in any way, shape, or fashion financially by any of these vendors. I've gone out on my own, bought these parts, and we're going to test them independently. We will go over each one, the manufacturer, the cost, the finish, things like that, and we will test them one at a time on this ZL1 behind me. A little bit about the car. Again, it's a 2018 ZL1 1LE. It is a bolt-on car, meaning it's basically got headers on it, intake, some basic bolt-on modifications. No heads, no cam, no work done to the blower, stock throttle body. So a very basic modified ZL1, which is exactly what we wanted. That'll give us the most realistic results with each individual lid. We're going to be testing things again like power, torque, intake, air temps, and manifold air temp control. Sound is a big one. I know people are very big on making these LT4 blowers as loud as possible, so we'll see which lid gives us the best sound. We're going to look at the data as well. We're going to data log the runs and see if there's any changes in air-fuel ratio and actual performance on that end. And we will hopefully, again, by the end of the video, provide just that much more information for you guys out there who are looking to add some sort of aftermarket lid to your LT4 Supercharger. Hope you enjoyed the video. Appreciate you guys very much again for checking it out. We're going to tune this vehicle as it is. It actually was built by another shop. So we're going to retune this thing and get it, I guess, get a good baseline to begin with. And then we will go from there, testing the lids, talking about the lids, and providing as much information as we can for you, the viewer. Looking forward to it. Thank you guys. Let's get started. All right, well, we just wrapped up tuning on the 2018 ZL1 1LE behind me. Of course, we got with Derek Dunbar, DD Tech Tuning out of Louisiana. He actually provides most of our remote tuning calibration here at the shop. He's really good. Guy's top of the game. Check him out at DD Tech on Instagram. But thank you, Derek. So car did really well. It did what I would expect it to do. It was 588 rear wheel horsepower, 641 foot-pounds of torque. It's right at 10 pounds of boost. So pretty much in the range of where I would expect this car to be with bolt-ons and 93 tuning. So it's an excellent baseline for us to now go and test these lids. So keep that in mind when we talk about the results from these lids. Yes, it can vary. It varies on the package. It varies on the setup of the vehicle, the fuel that's being run, the timing and the boost. We understand all that. When we test the lids to make sure that the environment is the same, we're gonna let the car completely cool down between runs. So we just finished the stock lid 93 tuning. We're gonna let the car completely cool down, let it sit for about an hour with the fan on it, and then we'll get right into testing. We're gonna take the stock lid off, put the new lid on, bolt it down, do a pull. We're not gonna change anything in the tune. We're not gonna touch timing. We're not gonna touch anything. We're gonna note things like intake air temp, our manifold air temps. We're gonna note things like air fuel ratio, see if any of that fluctuates. We do have a wideband in the car, so we'll keep an eye on that. And obviously horsepower and torque, right? We have our baseline figures. We're gonna see just by changing lids what happens. Does it go up? Does it go down? Does it do nothing? And then we will record the pulls with the GoPro near the air filter, which will give us a decent indication of how much more sound comes out of the blower from the intake. We just took a video with the stock lid. You can hear the blower somewhat. The exhaust is very loud, so But we'll do our best to get a good representation of each lid and how they change the sound output as well, which is a big one for everybody out there. So we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna start with the Weapon X lid first. Before we get into the testing, we're gonna show you a quick little clip of each and every lid, the benefits, the manufacturers, the price, and the specs and things like that, and then we'll get into testing. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there. Let's get right to the testing. This is the Weapon X lids, the first lid we're gonna test. It does come with mounting hardware, which is cool. This is their smooth finish. They also offer a machined finish if you're looking for a different look. This lid, as tested, is $900. It is 2 inches tall overall. It weighs 9 pounds, 3 ounces. And the underside of this lid is very similar to the rest of these that we're gonna cover. It's got this, what I call an airfoil in the middle that helps direct air through the lid and blower more efficiently, and helps obviously make things just happier and more power. So all these lids share that sort of similar design, and that's it. So that is the Weapon X lid. Next lid that we will cover is the ever popular DSX lid. Dave and his guys have been selling a ton of these. We use them quite often. What's great about Dave and his guys over there are their ability to machine and engrave these things. Pretty much anything you want. You provide the logo, they'll do it. They offer they offer powder coating and anodizing, all kinds of stuff. So very, very nice piece. This lid, as tested, is $650. It is 6 pounds, 15 ounces. So it is on the lighter side. It is the shortest of all the lids at 1 inch or 1 5/8 inch tall. So it's a little shorter than the others. And then it shares obviously the same sort of design underneath for efficiency. Dave's website claims up to 25 horsepower by just switching from the stock lid to his lid. So 25 wheels, pretty cool claim. We're obviously going to see that today, see what it does. Next lid up we have is the MPI lid. We actually have lots of cars that come in that already have this installed, so pretty popular piece as well. This is their polished finish. They offer polished, machined, as well as custom colors and anodizing. So again, plenty of choices there depending on how you want it to look. On their website, they actually have dyno graphs and dyno videos. They claim their lid picked up 1/4 to 1/2 pound of boost while testing, which was able to net right around 10 horsepower and 13 foot-pounds of torque. So this lid, as tested, is $800. It weighs 6 pounds, 11 ounces. So just under the DSX lid. It is the lightest lid we have here, and it is 2 inches tall, so slightly larger than the DSX, same as the Weapon X. So right around the same dimensions, more or less. Again, underside is pretty similar to the others, right? And they claim that this is going to make the best sound. I've found that of all the lids we run, the MPI seem to make the best blower sound, or at least enhance the sound of the blower. So we will see. Last but not least, our LMP late model performance lid, another popular lid. This is the heaviest and tallest of all the lids, I'll tell you that much, and it does come with hardware, which is awesome. This lid, as tested, is $1,150, so it's the most expensive. It's the heaviest, the tallest, and most expensive lid. They do offer a raw finish like this, or a black finish as well. On their website, they claim up to 30 horsepower, 25 foot-pounds of torque just by bolting this lid on. Weighs 14 pounds, 4 ounces, so it's a heavy piece. It's built well, it's machined well, it's got a lot of material in it, but it is heavy. So 14 pounds, 4 ounces, and it is the tallest lid at 2 5/8 inch tall. So heaviest, tallest, most expensive, but claims make the most power. The underside of this is very similar to the others, of course. So again, it's just a nice piece. All of these lids obviously receive the factory gaskets. Some of them do come with hardware, some of them do not. So that's the gist of the lids. We're gonna get to testing and go from there and see what these things do. All right, guys, well, we've wrapped up the lid testing. Results were extremely surprising, actually. We're gonna get into that in a minute. Remember, everything I tell you guys is based off, is the data that we got. It's really not my opinion necessarily. I will give my opinion in this video at the end, but the idea of this experiment was to take a bolt-on ZL1 and test different lids that are on the market. Okay, you can take this information however you want. You can process it however you want, and you can watch this video and you know, make whatever determination you want in your own mind. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you guys think about this experiment and this test and what the results were and why. But everything I'm getting ready to tell you is just right off the dyno graph here in front of me. We will put it on the screen so you'll see, of course, the gains that we got from each lid. Every run was conducted the same way. Exactly 170 degrees exhaust temp. Engine coolant temp. So 170 degree engine coolant temp, 100 degree manifold air temp is where the run would start. We went from roughly 2,500 RPM to 6,500 RPM. So every pull was identical. And the car was, we allowed the car to cool down completely between runs. So the car would sit anywhere from about an hour to an hour and a half with a fan on it. And we wanted to make sure that the test was consistent as possible. We tried to get some sound clips of each lid by putting the GoPro next to the air intake. It was difficult. It's very loud in this shop, and this car is extremely loud exhaust. So, but you can sort of hear the lids. I didn't hear any discernible difference between one or the other as far as you know, being in the car goes. So sound, you know, that's going to be one of those things. Maybe we have to get it out on the road and, you know, drive with the windows up and see if we have an increase in sound coming from the blower while driving the car on the road. But either way, let's get right into it. So obviously car made 588 641 stock, right? So it's with the stock lid and with the parts that are on here. So intake, things like that. Right, so 588 641 was our baseline. First lid we tested was the Weapon X Motorsports lid. We were able to pick up 1 horsepower and 4 foot-pounds of torque. Intake air temps or manifold air temps went from 100 to about 103 through the pull. It did not affect air-fuel ratio. There was really no other discernible difference between the baseline and the Weapon X lid other than just 1 horsepower and 4 foot-pounds of torque. So we did pick up power, but it was very, very little. Next lid we tested was the DSX lid. The DSX lid actually did the best of all lids. I know you're gonna be very surprised. I think a lot of people were betting on that LMP. But the DSX lid did pretty well. Picked up 7 rear wheel horsepower and 5 foot-pounds of torque over our baseline. Again, all we did was take the Weapon X lid off, put the DSX lid on, let the car cool down and do a hit. So 7 rear wheel horsepower and 5 foot-pounds of torque from the lid swap. Not bad. Again, manifold air temps went from 100 to about 102. All of these lids, as far as manifold temps and air fuel ratio and all of those things, didn't really change anything. The similarities were pretty stunning. Next lid we tested was the MPI lid. MPI did well. 5 rear wheel horsepower, 3 foot-pounds of torque. They claim on their website that you can actually pick up a little bit of boost. The boost was anywhere from 9.5 to about 10.3 on all of these pulls. I didn't notice any major change in boost up or down with any of these lids over the stock lids, so didn't really see anything there, but we did pick up 5 rear wheel horsepower and 3 foot-pounds of torque. And then last but not least, the LMP lid. The LMP lid, people were hitting me up online. They were all betting on that. It's definitely a nice piece for sure. It looks great. It's actually still on there now. But LMP lid was very similar to the DSX as far as results concerned, just a little bit less torque. We were able to make 7 more rear wheel horsepower and 2 foot-pounds of torque with the LMP lid. again, all the other vitals on the car, all the other data and things like that were about the same. So nothing really significant to show. We'll put the graph up, as I said, and you will see that these power curves, this car is extremely consistent, and that the horsepower and torque curves between the lids was almost identical. You can't really discern between one or the other. So let's talk about now why we didn't maybe make as much as we thought we would, or why we're seeing the results that we are. Now, I will give you my opinion on this. The fact is, I think the factory lid on the 6th gen ZL1s is taller than, say, the 15 and 16 Z06s, right? So if you recall, in 2015 and 16, the Z06 Corvettes that had the LT4 had a very short lid. It was pretty crummy, really bad intercooler bricks in the blower. It was a poor design. They had issues with heat soak in the blowers and stuff. We all know about that. So in 2017, they actually redesigned the lid to a taller lid for the Corvettes. Well, the ZL1s have always had the taller lid. So this car in stock form has the advantage of having really a vastly improved lid over what GM was previously putting out in the Corvette LT4. So we kind of started with a good lid. If you compare the stock lid and its overall height and just design, it's not far off from these aftermarket lids. It's pretty similar. I mean, yeah, it's cast aluminum. No, there's really no design on the bottom side of the lid to help move air through the blower or improve efficiency. But as far as just overall volume and stuff like that goes, it's pretty similar. So I think we already started off, in these cars with a good lid. So to think that we're going to just take that lid off and put an aftermarket lid on that's maybe not that much different and pick up 10, 15, 20 wheel, probably not likely. I would never bet on that. I think the other thing with these lids is I think at 10 PSI on a stock pulley configuration on this car and a stock blower with a stock throttle body and a standard rotor fab, I don't think we're moving enough air through this blower for it to make a difference anyway. I think every one of these lids has a purpose. I think every one of these, obviously they show improvement over the stock setup, but really I don't think these lids are going to shine until we start doing things like porting the blower, running a head cam setup, bigger throttle body, more boost, right? There's just not enough airflow. There's not enough air moving through this blower and being compressed and going into the cylinder for these lids to really do anything. That's my opinion. So basically there's nothing wrong with the lids per se. Yeah, there's small differences between, the designs from each manufacturer, but at the end of the day, I just don't think this particular setup benefits as much from one of these as, say, a head cam car or something like that. That's my opinion. Not one of these disappointed. Not one of these products didn't do its job. I'll tell you that. We didn't lose power with any of these lids. They were very easy to swap, and they look great. So look, it all depends what you're after. Are you after pure performance? Then these probably aren't worth it on a bolt-on car. If you're after looks, if you're after making the engine bay look better, adding some color to the supercharger, by all means, this is a great way to do it. All these things look great. It really improves the look of the engine bay. But if you're going after pure performance, to think that you're just going to swap a lid in an LT4 blower and pick up 20, 30 horsepower with everything else being the same, that's not going to happen. I just proved that today. That's, again, not to knock the products. But so here's what I'm going to do. We're going to conclude this test. This is what we got. This is what it is. We are currently swapping the cylinder heads and camshaft in Bad Pumpkin ZL1. We're also going to be updating the supercharger from a full tilt Joker's port to his race port. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these lids on the shelf. I'm going to do the work on Bad Pumpkin, and I'm going to create a second episode or a second series or test, if you will, where we're going to test these lids again on my ZL1 with 16 plus, 17 plus pounds of boost, race ported supercharger, 103 throttle body, big gulp rotor fab, heads and cam. I'm really interested to see at that power level, that setup, what these lids do. I'm willing to bet you that we will see a significant gain in power from one to the other on a setup like that, where airflow really is important and the volume of the lid is really important. So that concludes this episode. I know that the results weren't crazy, but at least now you know. This is real deal stuff. Again, we're not here to fluff it up. I'm not here to talk about one product better than the other, nothing like that. I would love to hear from you guys. This is one of those episodes you watch and you sit back and you go, what the hell? Really? Okay, and you got to comment. I'll comment back. I'd love to hear what you think about the results. I'd love to hear maybe what you guys have on your cars, on your LT4 Superchargers. If you have one of these lids, what your results were in your experience. So again, guys, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it educational. Hope you learned something. And I'm looking forward to getting Bad Punkin' done and testing these lids again on what I would consider a max effort LT4 build. All right, guys. So again, thank you very much for checking out the channel. And we will see you next time with Bad Punkin' when we test these lids and see what it does. Thanks, guys. Peace.